matchup, if I can say it like that. I think Paladin is slightly favored if he runs with like 1 or 2 equalities. Oh, we see a really good curve for
Yeah,
Lifecoach.
this is an insane curve.
But the curve doesn't matter that much in the Paddy versus Handlock because your opponent is not going to do anything. You just need removals for his 4-drop and then some power on the board. The card that Maverick just top decked is what Lifecoach wants to see in his hand too. I bet.
Yeah, that's for sure. However, Paladin might actually draw into some sort of decent solutions, and we do know that Lifecoach is running 2 equalities, which is going to be really important in this matchup, right?
He might have changed it, but I doubt it. I know he likes the more control-ish style. What do you think is better, Shielded Minibot or Knife Juggler? Like, Minibot dies harder, but Knife Juggler deals more damage next turn. You get 3 extra damage. But is the damage something that you seek in this matchup?
It is actually really important. I can say that from personal experience. I played a lot of Paladin, and I actually beat a lot of handlocks just by pressuring them down. Of course, Zombie Chow a little bit detrimental to that strategy. However, I think the damage and the board presence, especially that the Juggler provides, is really strong in this situation. Of course, it's nice to, especially if you play double equality, keeping the Knife Juggler is fine too. So maybe that is what Lifecoach is going for here.
He doesn't want to pressure him that much, and it's okay, I think. You don't want to play into a Hellfire that much either.
Yeah, that's right.
Tap turn 2, standard. Maverick's hand is not bad. It's a really good hand. Oh,
there it is.
That's a sick draw. But now, do you overextend into the Hellfire? I think you just hero power, being the Paladin. I think playing Master for Battle is too preemptive. You want to maybe play Master on turn 4 to force a bad Hellfire so that your opponent doesn't know if you have Quartermaster or not.
That's right. Master for Battle on turn 4 is much more threatening to Maverick because that perfect follow-up turn is, of course, the Quartermaster, and it's just a lot of mind games involved in that one.
Lifecoach could have made in such a way that he should set up lethal on turn 5, but that's really hard. You need to pressure him a lot. And Zombie Chow, again, as I said, is not the best way to rush your opponent down. If you attack 3 times and he kills the Zombie Chow, he still was dealt only 1 damage, and that's like not that much value. But Zombie Chow is insane versus aggro decks. And I'm sure Maverick has to have an aggro deck in all his 5.
Oh, Lifecoach actually choosing to go for the aggressive route in this situation. And it's a fine play, I would say.
This forces Maverick to go for coin, Hellfire, and he still has a Twilight Raid to follow on turn 4.
Exactly, but forcing Maverick to actually use that coin prevents any sort of turn 4 Mountain Giant, for example.
Yeah, but he can still get Draked. But Drake is not relevant, you can just ignore the Drake and wait for a bigger board until you equality.
Yeah.
You might want turn 6 equality Consecration if you have that. So now Lifecoach is in not such a good shape, but his Knife Juggler is really insane now. He'll definitely play Juggler. You saw the Hellfire, you saw the removals being used, you have a turn 5 play, you have 2 turn 5 play, but 1 is not good. And you just go in.
So considering that Maverick's next play is most likely going to be the Twilight Drake here, as Lifecoach, how do you approach this Twilight Drake? Do you just ignore it, or do you really want, or maybe you want to use an equality already just to be able to pressure?
He decides to hold the attack, so that means he doesn't want to rush him down. That tells us that he wants to either clear or just play defensively. I wouldn't be surprised if Lifecoach is just going to Sludge Belcher on turn 5 and then hold the attacks. That's enough. That's a chance. Yeah,
the Sludge Belcher is actually a fine way to stop the Twilight Drake from attacking your minions, and because the Sludge Belcher, of course, survives the attack from the Twilight Drake most of the time.
Should be a pretty good way. Yeah.
This way, he also gets to hold on to his equality when this is obviously a really important card that you have to hold on to. Usually, you just can't allow yourself to not have any outs against double Molten Giants, which might come out later on in this game.
It's really interesting now. How much can Lifecoach push? If he goes all in, it's pretty good in this spot, because we know that Maverick doesn't have any Molten Giant, but does Lifecoach know that? Oh, he goes really deep.
Yeah, he can allow himself to do it. I mean, he has the equality.
Yeah?
Yeah, you actually really want your opponent to play double Molten. And this is something Maverick, let's say Maverick had double Molten in hand, he would even have to consider not playing both of them actually, just to play around equality.
Then I think it's a mistake for Lifecoach to not attack on turn 4 to the face. He missed 1 damage.
Yeah, that I agree with. That I agree with
His
completely.
plays were a little bit bipolar. Like, he went for holding the attack to not play into the Giants, and then he full face because he has the equality. And he didn't top deck the equality to change his play. I think that's a small change of plans, but I don't think it impacts the game that much. So unless he'll be 1 damage of lethal, he did a pretty good job this game. Like, he went for the aggressive route. He saw Maverick doesn't have anything that insane, so he pushed. And Maverick's hand is not that great. Lifecoach can somehow get lethal next turn with a good draw.
Yeah, it kind of hurts Maverick in this situation that he's not able to deal with any minions that Lifecoach has here because he doesn't have the ways of actually getting rid of the Sludge Belcher, except if he silences it, I guess.
Can he get lethal? Equality, then Knife Juggler. Is that lethal?
Equality, Knife... well, we have to consider also the slime that pops out of the Belcher.
So, you go equality, and then you Knife Juggler, and then you Hero Power. And you have 3 knives. You can also get get 2 more knives with the Sludge Belcher.
So the Belcher along with the slime soaks up 3 damage, so that's basically the 3 knives, and then you have 6 plus... yeah, that's 2 damage off.
You trade the face into this, and then you attack the slime into that. You get 2 more knives. You get 2 knives.
Alright, then it's 1 off. It's 1 off.
Knives.
In optimal case, it's 1 off.
4. It can be a lot of knives. So it's 1 when you play the juggler, and it's 2 more, and then 2 more. So it's 5 knives. In the best case scenario, you will probably...
I have no time for games.
It would be 1 off lethal in the optimal scenario.
Okay. So you just play Sylvanas and trade. We see no. Interesting way of trading. You should just go for face, yeah.
Of course.
We see no Shadow Flame on Maverick's side. Maverick is in a really tough spot now. Lifecoach just pressuring him, pressuring.
Yeah, that is the downside of having to use your Hellfire that early already. Of course. So Maverick really needed another Hellfire or Shadow Flame in this situation. Doesn't have it though. Does have the Sun Fury Protector though, so that might actually help him out a little bit.
I think Equality is gonna win the game next turn. With Sylvanas.
Yes, that is true.
It's so hard for Maverick to do anything. I don't see anything. Like, if you play Healbot, you die, right? You go to 16, he has like 10. No.
Well, the Healbot...
Healbot saves him.
The Healbot would save him, but barely.
But is Healbot a good play? You're losing 2 turns.
Yeah, it is the play that Maverick has to do, and he actually sees it. So very good read on the side of Maverick here.
Now Lifecoach can just go for Knife Juggler, Minibot, and Hero Power. He saw that his opponent didn't have any removal in the previous turn, so he shouldn't have any removal now.
Yeah, if Lifecoach's line of play is consistent with what he's been doing before, then he will just ignore those minions, go for face with everything.
I don't think you should ignore all the minions. You should wait for the knives first. I think you should trade. Definitely should trade. Okay, that's perfect. You trade a 2-1 and then you trade the face. You go face for 8 damage. I think you should clear the board in this situation. You're in such a good advantage that even if he has removal, you still win. You have no reason to not trade here.
But pushing in for a lot of damage here is also something you might consider. Like the 3 damage that he just used on minions might actually be relevant. But I guess in general I would also go for the same play. You still have a really big board here, and of course you play around top decks like Shadow Flame.
This should be game for Lifecoach. I don't see anything that can save Maverick. Maybe a... Like, life tap into what? There's nothing there.
Yeah, Lifecoach... It seems like Lifecoach has this game locked up. It was a really good start for him too. And Maverick just kind of seemed to struggle with the aggression that Paladin brought to the table. The equality is just such a big factor. Just based on having the equality, even if Maverick had a slightly better hand and slightly better answers, Lifecoach probably would have taken the game regardless.
Yeah, really well played by Lifecoach.
So now that Lifecoach Paladin is eliminated,
Lifecoach has Warlock, Rogue, and Mage to go for. So I'm not really sure. I cannot say it's like the Mega Mage or something because he might change his lineup. Imagine he's going for Freeze now, it would be insane. Warlock, I don't see Lifecoach going for Zoo, so I think it's still Handlock. Rogue,
Yeah.
we can expect anything. What do you think of Agro Rogue right now? Like going for like Assassin's Blade, oils, deadly poisons, stuff like that.
oh boy, that is.
That is not Lifecoach.
No, what do you think of Gang Up Rogue?
Genga. Shut up, Ega. Maverick, on the other hand, has Druid, Warrior, Warlock, and Rogue. He got his Hunter band, and Lifecoach got his Druid band.
Yeah, it just seems like both those players went for their comfort classes. None of them switching it up too much. Even though they could make changes within the classes as well, I'm pretty sure that both those players just are going to stick to whatever they feel most comfortable with and what they feel is going to be the best. Lifecoach still trying to figure out which kind of deck he wants to choose. Of course, he's taking his fair time with that.
It's really important because if you pick the right deck now and you go for the 2-0, it's so hard for your opponent to make a comeback. Like already the first game matters a lot. I think it's so hard if you have like a super consistent lineup. The first person that wins like the first and second game maybe gets a huge advantage over the other guy. It's like insanely huge if you get the first win scene because then you can maneuver the games however you want to. Even if your opponent is the one that has the advantage in counter picking, it's so better for you.
I generally agree with that statement, but I've seen at least some players that kind of do the exact opposite. They just random. They just say, all right, I play whatever. I roll the dice and go from there.
Well, you roll the dice when you have like the same number of bad matchups and good matchups. Then it's mind games if you have like different percentages. This is a really interesting matchup that I really want to see. The Lifecoach from the Handlock from Lifecoach versus Maverick's Warrior.
Yeah, both those players actually brought kind of unconventional deck lists regarding those classes. Lifecoach, of course, known for his handlock play.
That's Demon Lock. Did he change the Demon Lock?
No, he is actually playing. He's actually playing Doomguard and the Dread Infernal in that list.
Oh yeah, okay.
So that was actually something I was surprised to see when I was watching him play and playing against him.
I know Lifecoach argued with Show off stream about the matchup between Handlock and Warrior. Lifecoach said that it's 80% for his Handlock and that he always crushes the Warriors.
Yeah.
And Show says that he got #1 Europe some week.
Yeah.
1 week ago because he always crushes handlock.
Yeah, but this is not the regular type of handlock that we are used to see. This is Lifecoach's handlock we're talking about, and he definitely made some changes, like playing obviously the Void Callers and a lot of different demons that you wouldn't expect. I usually don't see a Doomguard in a demon handlock, for example.
Let's see, this is gonna be a very interesting game.
Yeah, but speaking of stuff that you don't expect usually, there's Emperor Thorson and Foe Reaper 4000, right, in Maverick's deck. So that is also some interesting stuff that Maverick can put out. And I don't know how well it performs, but...
I didn't really like Maverick using the shield block on turn 3, because now you don't have that many ways to armor up. If you would go for armor up and then shield block, I'm not sure. Like with double shield slam in hand, you need armor.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that, but apparently he just wanted to cycle through to get more options.
Okay, I understand that.
There will be more armor gain cards in the future. He's probably running like 2 shield block, 2 shield maidens.
He definitely knows his warrior. Tawagi-san is gonna make the shield slams for nothing. That is gonna be insane if he gets to play that.
Oh yeah. I mean, Thorson just basically makes any hand insane, as long as you have a hand, right?
Well, you have to have the option to play Tawagi-san on the empty board. That's really costly. Oh, with Sarah. That's gonna be game switching sometimes.
Yeah, we actually see, I think, isn't this like the deck from Maverick where he doesn't run any big game hunter targets except for the Grommash? I think that's the list. Like, he plays Foe Reaper, he plays Ysera, I think he also plays Kel'Thuzad.
Foe Reaper?
Foe Reaper.
The 6/9 guy with 8 mana?
You didn't see that?
No.
Oh, you didn't see that, so yeah, you missed some of the Maverick's warrior action.
Oh my god, that's really cool.
It's been performing very well as well.
Props to Maverick for bringing that. Really insane. On the other hand, Lifecoach has like a really weird hand. You don't want to see this kind of cards usually. Like Hellfire is useless. Doomguard is bad without having the Void Caller. He went for that risky Doomguard. He discarded Sylvanas. He didn't want to discard that.
Yeah, the Doomguard discard, definitely a risky gambit there, but it seems like Lifecoach's hand was bad enough to just make the play worth it, and it was the odds of discarding Sylvanas were actually fairly small.
I wanted to say that if you go with Doomguard and you don't discard Sylvanas, you're actually in a really good spot, but if you discard Sylvanas, you're not that great.
Yeah.
He can still pressure, but his opponent can play Sylvanas. This is gonna be really hard for Lifecoach to win. He's thinking if he should trade with Argus. Trading with Argus is definitely better, because if you trade with Doomguard, you play into the second execute, you also play into Shield Block, Shield Slam. Actually, Doomguard can already die to the second Shield Block with the Armor Up, Shield Slam.
That's right.
Maverick just plays Sylvanas. This is gonna be a really hard turn for Lifecoach.
Yeah,
I predict a rope.
It's a really painful situation for Lifecoach, but he can actually deal with this fairly smoothly, I would say. So if you attack the Sylvanas and the Doomguard gets stolen, it can get killed by the Argus. Defender of Argus. If the Defender of Argus gets stolen, which is the better scenario, you can Mortal Coil it.
Yeah, but you lose the damage.
Is the damage really relevant though?
Not that much. Yeah, it is the easiest way in this situation to deal with the board. Well, we see on Maverick's hand that Maverick will just smash the Tauri Sun in if the Doomguard is stolen on the empty board.
So it looks like the Doomguard's getting stolen, and that will prompt Lifecoach to just kill it off with the Defender of Argus.
I think he will tap first.
Of course, you might find some other option to deal with this Doomguard right away, like
he obviously wants
Dark
a 4-drop.
Bomb maybe, but
That's
most likely we'll see the attack here.
There's not a 4-drop, but he will still play it, I think. Or where is he gonna play it? Like, does he get any benefit from playing Ancient Watcher now?
Well, playing the Ancient Watcher like this, he just wants to free up the mana in the future turns, apparently. Of course, it might have some downside to play the Ancient Watcher, because you overextend against a potential brawl if you plan on playing more minions.
Maverick plays a Tauri Sun, gets 8 mana Ysera. What can be better than that?
And the even more painful part about this is that Lifecoach doesn't have any way of dealing with the Taurisan right now.
You play your own Taurisan and just pray.
Yeah, like who has now it all comes down to who has the better Taurisan, and from the looks of it, Maverick has the better one, I would say, at least. His cards are just much more high impact.
Yeah, Maverick is in a leading position right now.
That is Sarah on turn 8.
The thing is that
so good.
The Shield Slams are useless. But does he really care about the Shield Slams? Like, even though he has double Shield Slam, he doesn't have any usage for them without having armor. But Lifecoach doesn't have any way to deal with this, so it's probably a game-breaking.
He found a way though. Look at this. Ironbeak out, the perfect draw in order to like at least disable the flow of dream cards.
It's not that great, like he'll still have a 4-12.
Yeah, of course, but better that than nothing, right?
You can tap into a 4-drop. No. Now, even if you quit your Ironbeak is not enough. You might be thinking of something like Hellfire, silence the Ancient Watcher trade, but that's not enough. Like only 7 damage.
Yeah, 12 damage is 12 health is just so much to deal with by regular standards. Usually you just want to have stuff like Siphon Soul against that Ysera. I don't even know if Lifecoach plays Siphon Soul. That is like one of the that is like one of the things you have to unfortunately do as handlock. You cannot play all the cards that you want. You have to cut. You have to make some cuts, especially when you're playing that demon version with the Void Callers and all the demons that can come out of them. Alright, so Hellfire being played first to at least damage Sarah a little bit, and then playing the Owl to silence it. Hellfire, he could just throw it away like that, because it's usually not that important in this matchup anyway.
He wants to pressure the board somehow. Maverick draws the second weapon. I think he uses the Fireworks, but does he really benefit that much from the Whirlwind effect from the Deathbite? I think he wants to draw with the Acolyte that he has in hand, and he just wants to play his Dragon.
Yeah, I think the Deathbite is just a pretty good setup. in case your opponent plays a Sludge Belcher, for example, and also obviously you want the additional card draw from the Acolyte right away. So it's nice to have a setup Deathbite already.
Yep. Lifecoach tries to get his Molten Giant somehow out, but it's really hard to do so.
Well, we might see them fairly soon, though. There's a lot of damage on the board if the Maverick chooses to play that Emerald Drake. However, there's a Big Game Hunter waiting. Do you actually play a Big Game Hunter on something like an Emerald Drake?
Unless you're like super high, super behind. Like here, I might say just because Lifecoach is afraid.
But wait a second.
Yeah.
If Lifecoach did his research, he knows that Maverick plays like little to no Big Game Hunter targets at all in this deck.
Oh,
so
you're right. Yeah, like usually you want to keep BGH for Alexstrasza or Ragnaros. But in this particular situation, playing BGH is the right play because Maverick doesn't have any BGH targets.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right, Jacob. And Lifecoach is the kind of person that does his research. So BGH, and then what? Do you heal bot or do you void color?
Well, it all depends on what the life tap brings first. There's the Belcher, which is pretty good play here to just fill the curve.
Yes, it is. But I think you want to get damage so that you can play Molten and heal bot the next turn. It's really hard to say. It's really hard to say.
So many possibilities indeed. Lifecoach once again just trying to find the perfect play, and even like this is something Lifecoach does. Even if he goes to rope every so often, and it's not because he doesn't see the optimal play that he's going to do. He's just planning ahead as well.
Yeah, Lifecoach thinks ahead a lot of turns.
And this is what makes Lifecoach such a great player. So, as expected, the Acolyte of Pain being played to enable the card draw with the Deathbite activation. Armorsmith being drawn. What do you think about... I guess Maverick is just going to keep this Harrison Jones for a long time, right? In anticipation of Jaraxxus.
Yes. You keep it for Jaraxxus for sure. It's really hard, a really tough spot.
Yeah, thanks to this Armorsmith, Maverick might actually get the necessary amount of armor
to use the shield
soon.
slams efficiently, yes. He's thinking about killing the BJ somehow. Do you think that's worth it? Wow.
He goes for it.
He goes for it. He also keeps the weapon.
But it's interesting that he's... Oh, never mind. He already attacked. I was like, yeah, there's no way he wouldn't have attacked it with the fireworks, but yeah, of course he already attacked.
Damn it, back up. He's like trying
you know, when turns take so long, then sometimes you forget what happened.
The reason of equipping Fireworks is to show Lifecoach that he might have the Gromash. He doesn't have it, but it's like a really good bluff from Maverick. To show the potential lethal on board is like 9 on board, and Lifecoach is at 19. So Lifecoach will be not that eager to go for the Moltens, even though Moltens are the best play here. He probably doesn't even have any other option. Like, if you heal bot now, you lose. So you have to just risk it all. But do you play the 6 mana one or the 7 mana one? I think you go for the 7 mana
Well, generally I would say the more expensive one. Unless you want to play Ancient Watcher 2 for some reason. Lifecoach is actually talking to himself, going through the plays. Maybe he just wants to overshadow the music he has to put on this headset. With yeah, maybe the music is too loud to like make him think properly, so he talks about his plays.
It will be funny if his opponent hears about his plays.
I doubt that Maverick will hear us or Lifecoach thanks to the noise cancellation headset.
He goes for the right play.
Oh, the Gromash. He's even...
It's lethal.
Yeah, he's able to enable it with that shield slam, and this is...
It's exactly lethal.
Yeah, along with Ysera and Fiery War Axe, this is going to be 70 damage. 2 damage overkill even with the 2 other minions.
Like, he wanted to show Lifecoach that he has that, but Oh, it would have been exactly that without tapping. Yeah, I didn't calculate that. That's the 2 damage that I was missing. Like, Lifecoach went for the risk because he had no other option. And Maverick was bluffing that he has Gromash, and then he top decked the card that he was bluffing he had. That's really interesting. Okay, so Maverick wins with his Warrior, and he's left with Druid, Warlock, Rogue versus Lifecoach's Mage, Warlock, Rogue. This is gonna be interesting. So, theoretically, lineup-wise, Lifecoach has the advantage because he has the Mage versus the Druid, like over the Druid. And Warlock versus Warlock, Rogue versus Rogue is gonna matter a lot too. Like, if Maverick is gonna win Warlock versus Warlock and Rogue versus Rogue, it doesn't really matter if he loses the Druid versus Mage. He can still win Druid versus either Warlock or Rogue. So winning a mirror match is more important than having a bad matchup. That's the difference in Conquest. If you lose a mirror match, you have to win a bad matchup, and then you lose.
Yeah, the mirror matches is often what it really comes down to in the end. And a handlock mirror matchup between Maverick and Lifecoach, that is certainly something that I would be excited to see. Because it really like shows you the mastery of the class and the deck.
They're already in the next game. Lifecoach decides to keep his Warlock, whereas Maverick goes for the Rogue. Again, a really close matchup. I would say that usually Rogue is favorite, but it depends on what Warlock type you play. Like, Lifecoach is really experimented in beating the Rogues, and his version is not that Demon Lock-ish. Like, the more handlock you go, the better the Rogue matchup becomes. Of course, with this hand, I don't think you keep a Molten Giant, but he's thinking...
So wait a second. You are saying that the Demon Lock version has a worse matchup than the regular handlock version?
Of course.
Okay.
You don't have threats. Your biggest threat is the Void Color on turn 4. You kill the Void Color, accept the target that he gets, easy win. You just rush him down afterwards. You rush him down even from like 20 plus, so he cannot play his Giants if he plays Giants. That's the way Maverick is going to win this matchup, if he's going to win it. Lifecoach, he's thinking a lot if he should keep Void Color and Jaraxxus combination. It's a really interesting combination, and if he gets that out, Argus is the Jaraxxus, he asks for a sap, and if he gets that sapped, he can just play something more threatening and win the game afterwards. It'll be a really interesting combination.
And if the Jaraxxus doesn't get sapped, then Lifecoach will definitely be in a really good spot, because Lord Jaraxxus just eats all the minions that Maverick can put out for breakfast.
I'm pretty sure... Did Maverick keep sap? I think yes. You have to keep sap in this matchup.
Yeah, definitely. One of the most important cards for sure.
Maverick
especially when Void Color is in the opponent's deck.
Maverick has a really good hand. Lifecoach's hand, he decided to keep 3 cards, so I think it's a good hand for him. Like, he wouldn't keep 3 cards if it's not a good hand. He has the Molten Giant. He kept Molten because he might have thought that Maverick is gonna rush him down.
Yeah, I actually don't remember quite if Maverick brought the Rogue in the group stage, or was it the Hunt? Or like, what was the deck he did not bring the previous days?
I think the Hunter. I'm not really sure. Let me think a bit. I think the Hunter.
Yeah, I also think it's the Hunter actually. So Lifecoach just wanted to ban the unknown.
Like, you played versus him, man. You should know better.
No, I didn't play versus Maverick actually.
He was in your group.
He was in my group, but I didn't play against him.
Like, Lifecoach brought a Rogue. That's what I know.
Yeah, that's what I know too.
I didn't see Lifecoach playing that much Rogue.
Oh yeah, now that you mention it, I didn't see Lifecoach play any Rogue at all. Like, ever.
No, he played Miracle Rogue a lot. He had a season where he played only Miracle Rogue on stream, and he was explaining the plays. He was like really good with it.
But that was...
I didn't see him play Void Rogue.
That was some time. That was already some time ago, though, right?
Yeah. Before he invented the Miracle Druid.
Yeah, that is like before DreamHack Winter, right?
Yeah, before DreamHack Winter he played only Miracle Rogue, and then he played Miracle Druid because he didn't like that much Rogue anymore.
Yeah.
But I never saw him playing Void Rogue. But it's a lot until then. Like, now, let's focus on this matchup. Do you Hellfire the Talnos? That looks really bad. Maverick is in the leading position right now, seeing his hand.
So the Owl being played on the Blood Mage Talnos, and it's a decent play. You generally don't have many targets that you want to silence, unless you're facing down a big Edwin.
That's a target you want to silence usually.
Yeah,
oh,
but,
we see the deck
but many
hand.
rogues actually don't even play Edwin anymore.
Deck hand tells me one thing, that Maverick is running 2 oils, And 2 oils tells me another thing, that he's running 1 teacher or 0 teachers, and that means that he's running 2 shredders. So it's like, you can have so many ways of building oil rogue, but if you play a card, you have to play the rest of the deck according to it. So if you see deckhand, you must play double oil, and if you have double oil, you cannot play double teacher.
Well,
teacher doesn't work well with oil. On the other hand, shredder works perfectly with oil. So that's how Maverick is playing his rogue deck.
well, Ardu, I would agree with you, but Maverick is the kind of player I would assume to just go against the grain of like standard quick cutter deck lists. We've seen from the Warrior, for example, he just likes to mix it up and play completely different stuff.
It's not like he plays without BGH targets, and for River is probably a good non-BGH target. So he went with a strategy in deck building.
Yeah, but you can just. I'm just saying that
we
you
can
can't.
bet if you want to take up.
I'm just expecting. Like I wouldn't just put my money on whatever Maverick is playing. That's what I wanted to say. Like I wouldn't like.
I'm
to
pretty sure he's
expect-
going with the standard guidelines. You cannot play double oil, double teacher. That's insane. You just want to face the RNG then. Like teacher is inefficient if you have double oil. You get a lot of cloggy hands and you get a lot of situations where she's just bad for you.
Yeah, that's true.
Whereas Shredder can get buffed by the second oil. I personally like the version with 2 teachers, that means running 1 Shredder and 1 oil and no deckhand. And you can go more like control-ish with Edwin. I don't even think this deck has Edwin. I played a lot of Rogue and I know how it works. So if you have like a bad combo inside your deck, your chances of winning the game are slimmer and slimmer.
I'm just a little bit confused. Like Tinker's Sharp Sword seems like such a great card. Why would you ever play less than 2?
Maybe if you want to control the game and the board. I ended 1 season ago, I think, or no, 2 seasons ago, top 10, and I only played Rogue that season, and I think I know the variations. I know, it's just 1 oil works really well. You don't really need a second oil, unless you play like really aggressive with deckhand. And if you play really aggressive with deckhand, you'll probably lose versus Warriors, and you also lose versus classes like Shaman, many times. I know, I just like the control-ish version more. But maybe in a tournament setting, like now, the more aggressive one is better. Let's see.
So right now, Lifecoach already in a precarious spot. He has a full grip of cards, but already at 16 health, and he's facing down a lot of potential burst from Maverick's side, which is why he needs to really think carefully about this turn for sure. He has so many options, and he needs to find the best one to actually just put up with every possible amount of burst that Maverick can put out.
If Lifecoach goes for the Towery Sun, is little for Maverick.
Yeah. It's really tempting though. Like you see a hand this full and you just draw the Thaurissan.
Like, what is the play that doesn't give little to Maverick? You need to taunt up. That means Void Color. Void Color Sun Fury.
Yeah.
I don't think that's the optimal play.
I'm pretty sure Lifecoach's mindset right now would be, can I afford to play this Emperor right now? Am I in danger of dying? And we know that he is. So Lifecoach is trying to figure out possible combinations of spells that Maverick can have in order to win.
It's really tough to say. Okay. Maverick took the game now.
Oh, wow. Well,
Lifecoach is used to the more control-ish rogues on Europe, and Maverick just came with his fast rogue and won. He has more way of getting littles now with the oil, but this is the easiest way that he already had.
yeah, and just like that,
Maverick takes 1 more game. Lifecoach still not managing to win a game with his favorite class, the Warlock. The thing is that Lifecoach sticked to the Warlock for 2 times. Will he stick again to the Warlock? If yes, Maverick can know that and can pick something like Druid into it. Right now he has Druid or Mirror Match. So, as Lifecoach, what would you pick versus Druid and Handlock? I think Rogue is pretty decent.
you definitely want to find a class that has the most optimal win rate against both those decks.
The thing is that you want Mech Mage to face a Druid, you want the Rogue to face the Handlock, and you want your Handlock to face whatever. So what do you go for? If you somehow miss the Druid with Mage, like if now Maverick goes for Druid and Lifecoach doesn't go for Mage, it will not end up that good. So now Lifecoach is calculating the chances of this happening. It's 50-50, it's like a coin flip. So you just either go for Mage and hope for the Druid, you either go for the Warlock and hope for the mirror match, or for the Druid and to beat that. And you can also go for the Rogue. Being Lifecoach, there's one matchup you do not want. You do not want Mage versus Handlock. That much. Other than that, anything looks okay. On Maverick's side, you do not want Druid versus Mage. And other than that, you want anything. So do you just YOLO the Druid and hope no Mage? Or do you just go for the safe Warlock bet?
I would, as Lifecoach, I would probably not want to play Warlock again. Like if I was in his spot at least. It seems like he lost 2 games with this Warlock already, and maybe he wants to mix it up a little bit just to get a fresh start, fresh mindset. I would probably switch it up if I was Lifecoach. And Maverick, I think he can pretty much play whatever.
Switching it up is usually not better than keeping, but if you always keep, they will know that. And you have to mix it up a bit so your opponent doesn't find a pattern. It's really odd to play Conquest. Like you get the best odds if you just randomize your selection, but if you always randomize or if you always stay or if you always have a pattern, your opponent can see that pattern and abuse it. So that's why you should do something to not have a pattern and also randomize the most. It's really complicated.
That is why a lot of players just roll the dice when it comes to class selection, just to not be able to get red.
Well, that's also a pattern. Like if you always randomize.
But it's the pattern that your opponent cannot predict, obviously. So Lifecoach has decided, and he decided to go for the Rogue. He's mixing it up.
He has the Rogue versus Druid. So Maverick just YOLO'd the Druid and hope for no Mage. And then he wants to win this matchup so that his Warlock has to face all the other 3 classes. Interesting. Let's see. Wow. A really good hand on Maverick's side. As Lifecoach, you probably want as many monsters as possible.
Yeah.
I don't think you can keep the Eviscerate. You keep first here and you hope to get a 4-drop or 5-drop and so on. Should be good.
Well, yeah, the Eviscerate you definitely do not need in this matchup, at least this early. What do we think about keeping Sprint, though?
You never keep Sprint versus Druid. That's a really bad decision.
So yeah, Lifecoach is definitely going to need those early game minions, and he gets them. Like SI7 along with the backstab is pretty decent as well as for tempo play to deal with any early minion that Maverick can put out that's not a shade.
He wants to go for the Wild Growth path.
Dr. Boom as well for Lifecoach. This is going to be a pretty decent start actually. Like Lifecoach is going to curve out very well.
Yeah, you play the first here. You want to have the SI backstab option. You want to have the Teacher on for turn 4. Teacher is really insane if you have a prep and a 2-mana spell like Eviscerate, but we don't see that in Lifecoach's hand. Being Maverick, I don't think you need to use the Innervate right now. You can Rough and Innervate back the Shredder, or you can just play the Lote maybe? There are so many ways to approach this.
Yeah, I actually like innervating the Shredder. This gives him a lot of good follow-ups with the Lothap on turn 5, the Sylvanas on turn 6, and of course keeping the coin in case, still having the coin in case he draws into a 7-drop that he might play over Sylvanas.
Or he might just go alongside the curve, like 4, 5, 6, 7, and then on turn 8 coin out the potential combo.
Oh yeah, you're right. All he needs is a 7-drop for that.
That would be insane.
So both players with a very solid curve.
Lifecoach just has to play Teacher, backstab the Shredder, attack into the Shredder, hope for something small.
Like 0 attack minion, most optimal scenario.
There's no zero attack minion in the cup.
What? Of course.
There is?
That Pagel, Lore Walker Cho.
Oh, I don't think you want
Doomsayer.
that. I would much rather see a Murloc.
Of course, you're not hoping for Doomsayer though.
I think you want to see a Murloc. A Murloc would be pretty good.
Yeah, of course, Net Pagel and Lore Walker Cho can also be really annoying for the rogue.
Yeah. But as the druid, would you really use that many spells now, at this point when you need to overload the board with monsters? I don't think so. Oh, Innervate. And Lifecoach chooses to not backstab. That's something really interesting. He wants to keep the backstab for the Aztec on turn 5, and that's a really well played Lotte by Maverick. He just stops the option. Not sure if it was intended like that, but...
Well, it was just the perfect on-curve play, and even though Lifecoach does have plays that he can make, despite the low tap being played, low tap just provides a good minion and obviously like gives Lifecoach less options for the turn as well.
Lifecoach is considering training the Shredder, which is obviously the right play. You don't want to give the 3-5 to a 5-5 low tap.
What do you think? Like, was it actually good to play the Azure Drake before attacking? I guess you play around
Yes,
Mana Wraith
you
that
play
way.
around Mana Wraith.
And also Nerubar Weblord.
Yeah, you play around Mana Wraith and Nerubar Weblord, but you play into cards like Doomsayer. And if he gets Doomsayer, you're not that sad because your opponent also loses the low tab. But he still doesn't want to attack into that.
Oh, wow.
It's a really weird way of approaching this. I think you should have... I don't know. I would have traded there for sure.
Yeah, also considering that this gives Maverick pretty decent trades here, considering that he can just use the Shredder to kill off the Azure Drake now and the low tap to kill the Violet Teacher. Very odd play indeed by Lifecoach. What do you think? Maybe he's a little bit rusty on that rogue?
Heck up. I don't know.
Yeah. It's just, I don't have any other explanation for this.
You give, like, giving the free Azure Drake is not that efficient, but maybe he has another way of playing the matchup.
Of course, I'm not going to criticize a player of the caliber of Lifecoach. He obviously knows what he's doing. He has a reasoning behind every play he does.
He coins out the Wrath and then innervates out the hero power so he can deal with the Azure Drake in a more efficient fashion. He should probably trade a low tab into the Violet Teacher, and then he still has the annoying Shredder. I think this game is going to Maverick. I don't see Lifecoach getting out of this without a Blade Flurry, and I think it needs more than a Blade Flurry. And that's not Blade Flurry. Lifecoach had too many monsters, and I think in this matchup you should go for the board control while already having some monsters on the field. You cannot just win by going for face with the Violet Teacher.
Yeah. You definitely need to burst to back it up, but with the hand that Lifecoach had, with a lot of minions and some removal, he definitely needed to go for the board control.
There is one way you can win it. You go Azure Drake, you backstab the Shredder, he gets Doomsayer, you pass the turn, he plays Sylvanas. You get back at turn, you play Dark Dragon to counter Sylvanas. He takes into the boom, steals a Boombot, and then you just destroy him.
Yeah, that is obviously the most optimal scenario, but it's kind of wishful thinking, hoping the opponent gets Doomsayer. That never happens. Until it happens, obviously.
It never happens.
It never happens in theory until it happens, obviously.
It's like 2%, right?
Of course, it's a small chance, probably less than 2% even.
Is that the best bet Lifecoach can take, a 2% chance? Is it?
Well, it might be what he has to do. Like, look at this. He's just facing down so much damage. It's unbelievable. Is he actually going for the Shredder here? Or no, actually, he's going into SI7. Yeah, SI7.
Yeah, that's a really good play.
Oh. Well, that is a card that Lifecoach is happy to see.
Yes.
It's a minion that cannot attack.
Oh, this combo. As I said, a coin combo on turn 8. That would have been amazing.
That was a possibility.
He coined for the Wrath and hero power.
Yeah, and now thanks to Savage Roar as well, the Vitality Totem will actually end up being relevant.
Do you like Azure Drake more than Sylvanas? I think Sylvanas on curve is not on curve is better than Azure Drake on curve, just because you can pressure your opponent way more with this. Lifecoach needs a miracle to get out of this. That's why it was called Miracle Rogue before.
Yeah.
You stab the Sylvanas for sure, but then how do you follow that up? You would love to see an Eviscerate, but you don't have that. You can trade a SI and trade a face into the Harrison and then play a Sludge Belcher. Actually, you can play Acid right now and play Sludge Belcher next turn. You don't really need the downs now on turn 8 of the Druid. He cannot deal that much damage to you.
That is true. You don't really want to use up your Sludge Belcher unless you're really in the threat of getting comboed.
Druid doesn't really have a good way of dealing 8 damage on turn 8. Force of Nature is like 7 with hero power. You need like double swipe. Savagery is like 5 with hero power. Oh, you got the Blade Flurry. That's a good start.
Well, he still needs a weapon. Like he will have to weapon up again next turn and still also draw the weapon enabler if he wants to use that Blade Flurry.
If he goes for full face, it's not lethal for Maverick, is it? Triggering the Harrison. So Savagery deals 5 damage. Force of Nature is 1 damage of lethal.
Yeah.
Do you put Lifecoach at 1? I don't think so.
No, I mean it would be an okay play if Maverick had the
Swipe.
yeah, pretty much anything that can.
Well, if he had a swipe, it was lethal with Savagery swipe, but.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, now Lifecoach needs a sap. Second sap. Second sap would do it.
Yeah, it's pretty much what he needs. Sylvanas otherwise threatens to just take the game from there.
Let's see.
We might actually see a board clear with Blade Flurry, and they like despite not having an enabler, but you need to deal with the Sylvanas somehow.
You're probably attacking to Sylvanas, eviscerate the Sylvanas, and then play Sludge Belcher. It's not the most beautiful play, but...
Yeah, I guess you can also eviscerate it, that's true.
Do you die?
So many options.
6, 8... He dies if he does that.
Alright, so Lifecoach feeling the threat of the combo, obviously. Like you see Maverick is about to reach 9 mana crystals. He needs that Sludge Belcher up right away. And yeah, I guess even despite that, right? Oh, okay.
Yeah, Maverick deals 8 to the face with the combo.
Yeah, you're right. This is just not enough health for the Belcher to like be worth to be able to do something, unfortunately for Lifecoach. And there we see it, Maverick taking yet another game.
With a Druid, and now Lifecoach has to win Handlock, Rogue, and Mech Mage versus Maverick's Handlock.
It is definitely going to be an uphill battle.
Yes, it is. Lifecoach is a player that has the nerves to not tilt, and Maverick is the player that has the nerves to be able to tilt others.
Yeah, it is definitely easier to tilt. What? Oh yeah, apparently Lifecoach. We are going to be on a little bit of a break because Lifecoach. Yeah, I know. I mean, we're gonna. It will take some time before. It'll take some time before Lifecoach comes back actually into the game because he just went on a toilet break. Anyway, but this gives us more time to actually theorize how this matchup will unfold. Maverick, of course, I was about to say Maverick has, as you were saying, Maverick has a higher chance to actually go on tilt from this position onwards because he's so close to victory, and now every game he loses maybe gives him more of a feeling of insecurity.
Well, the only way I see Lifecoach winning this is getting lucky on the Rogue matchup, outplaying Maverick somehow on the Mirror match, and then not having Mech Mage and having Freeze Mage, which is like close to impossible. Like, it's really hard to make a comeback like this. You need to win 3 games in a row.
Yeah, especially I see Lifecoach win against Handlock with the Warlock, with his Handlock and with the Rogue, but Mech Mage will probably be pretty hard, right?
If he runs Mech Mage, he could change.
Do you think he's changing?
I have...
Like, so far we haven't seen any changes whatsoever in Lifecoach's lineup.
Well, maybe he changed the Mage. We don't know. I just want to see some good games. Lifecoach is my teammate, but he's in a really bad spot right now.
Let's say Lifecoach actually brought the Mech Mage, right?
Okay.
He didn't change. What do you think about last game? Like, what is the mistake? Not trying to snipe the Druid with the Mech Mage?
He probably had to snipe the Druid with the Mech Mage. Because if he wins Mech Mage versus Druid, and then let's say he loses Rogue versus Druid, he still has Rogue and Handlock versus the Handlock, which is like way better for you. Now he's in a really bad spot because of that. Okay, he's going for the mirror match first. I think he wants to go for the confidence matchup. If he wins the mirror match, then he has to win the rogue and mage. It's up to him what he thinks is more convenient for him, having the rogue or having the mage in counter Maverick's warlock. Like, if Maverick loses from this spot, it means that his warlock got 4-0'd, I think, if I'm not mistaken. And that would mean that the warlock is not the best call.
Not for out, but
Lifecoach's
definitely
warlock
didn't win any single game.
Lifecoach's warlock also didn't win any game until now. So at least now we'll see a warlock winning a game.
Yeah, that's true. That's true indeed.
Warlock was insanely strong for all the players until top 8. Why do you think it changed until now? It changed now in the top 8. In the top 8. With the extra deck.
Well, honestly though, I don't really think it's really. I don't think it changed actually. I think it's just a little bit of variance.
Oh,
in that
just
regard.
with this variance.
Yeah, it's just randomness. I think definitely that even now the warlock, the handlock is still a very strong deck. It can definitely win against almost all the classes as well.
Interesting. Let's see. It'll be a slow start on both sides. Lifecoach has the Twilight Drake on turn 4. Maverick can have the Twilight Drake on turn 3. Is it good to coin Twilight Drake into a Zombie Chow when your opponent can play his own Twilight Drake? You don't get that much value, do you? And you don't have a good follow-up. But you might have to do it still. What do you think?
Yeah, coining out the Twilight Drake is not really necessary. He has the follow-up plays lined up already. He can play Twilight Drake on turn 4, and of course, keeping the coin is extra juicy if you consider that Maverick has the option of going for a turn 5 Taurison with such a full hand.
Turn 5 Taurison is definitely gonna be nice. Getting the reduction on all these cards is insane. You can consider 2 cards being as an innervate.
Yeah. That's right, so you can get up to like 4 innervates with that.
Really balanced. Of course, you have to get into a good board state. You cannot just smash Taurison in every single situation. That's the problem with the card. Lifecoach is considering his options. He wants to choose between Void Color and Twilight Drake, both being really good, with a top deck Doom Guard. Anything can happen. What do you think is better value for you? Like, if you play the Void Color, you probably are going to face Twilight Drake. Can you deal with the Twilight Drake with what you have in the hand?
Yeah, you do have the Ironbeak Owl, obviously. Like, Lifecoach does definitely want to see that Twilight Drake, and maybe that is the reason why he actually chose to go for that Void Color right now.
This allows
Just
you
to bait
also
out the Twilight Drake and go from there with the Owl. This is a pretty good tempo swing right now for Lifecoach if he goes for the Owl here in the trade.
Maybe he can tap into a Mortal Coil. What do you think of that?
Yeah, of course. That is if Lifecoach is running Mortal Coil. I haven't seen it yet. I think, right?
I don't remember. There are too many Warlock games on both sides.
So let's see. If he's running Mortal Coil, he will definitely tap here. I mean, he will tap regardless. So let's see.
Okay.
No Mortal Coil, but at least still the expected Void Color attack.
The Doom Guard can be really good. Like, would you play Taurison into a Doom Guard?
Yeah, it's definitely not
Wow.
really what you want to do, considering the Taurison is able.
Coin Taurison into Darter Boom. But then you take so much damage from
I think
the
you can
Doom
just
Guard.
easily go for Siphon Soul here.
I have no
Oh, he's actually going for Sylvanas.
Interesting.
And once again, we have that scenario that we saw before. Oh yeah, right. There was
Yeah, there was the Mortal
Of course,
Coil.
now because of that, we know that there was actually a Mortal Coil for Lifecoach.
Yeah. It's the same exact situation that it was in game 1, I think. But it was the Paladin versus...
Yeah.
Oh. Game 1 was Paladin versus Warlock, so it was not that.
Yeah, it was versus the Warrior, I think.
Yeah, it was Warlock versus Warrior, yeah, second game. After Lifecoach won with his Paladin versus the Hand from Maverick, yeah. This is a really tough call.
Yeah,
If you ignore the Sylvanas, he can do some Hellfire combinations to steal your Doom Guard, and you don't want that to happen. So what do?
You could obviously just silence the Sylvanas to keep your board intact.
That would be nice, but if you silence Sylvanas, what else do you play? You can play Twilight Drake Silence, that's nice.
That seems like the optimal scenario right now for Lifecoach.
Do you trade? No, you don't need to trade, right? Lifecoach hitting that face.
Yeah, pretty solid. A lot. Yeah, Maverick all of a sudden facing down a lot of pressure, and doesn't seem like he has the ways of dealing with this properly.
This is the downside of Taurisan, as you said. Like Taurisan is insane, gives you like 4 innervates, but are those innervates effective if you die?
Yeah, exactly. You don't have time to actually make use out of those innervates, basically.
Lifecoach is the aggressor in this matchup. He has the Dr. Bomb to follow up. Maverick is on the defenses. Maverick is pretty much forced to Siphon Soul this turn. Hellfire puts you in a really bad spot, but Hellfire also deals with the owls. You remove 4 damage from the board, but you also take a lot.
Yeah, Mortal Coil though will increase the options that Maverick has. So let's see what he gets first.
Oh, Sludge Belcher. That's interesting, because it's not that easy for Lifecoach to deal with the first Belcher if Maverick plays into the owl. And then the second one is just gonna be even more annoying. On the other hand, if Lifecoach plays the Dr. Boom, he'll have a really good way of dealing with the board. The problem is that if he plays Dr. Boom after trading, he plays into Shadow Flame. Does he really care about that? Or is it like YOLO mode for Lifecoach?
Well, it seems like Lifecoach might smell blood in the water. The plays that Maverick have been doing are not really dealing with whatever Lifecoach has very effectively. For example, if Maverick doesn't have an owl, now Lifecoach knows that owl would have been played. And
there are 2 possible plays here. You either tap Sludge Belch or just smash the boom. Smashing the boom is better if you don't expect Shadow Flame. Playing the Belcher is more defensive, but it's not that great as a Shadow Flame either.
yeah,
so I think you would go for Dr.
but
Boom.
even then, how good is Shadow Flame even? It doesn't really clear up that much.
It's pretty good. You can clear a lot if you play Belcher and Boom. It's not like the perfect Shadow Flame, but it's a good one. He goes for the Dr. Boom play indeed.
Yeah, and a very strong board presence by Lifecoach. He's smelling blood in the water, and he's going for the kill with this huge board.
We had to borrow the GG button from Grip. GG.
So Siphon Soul being used on that Dr. Boom. Sylvanas is going to trade into the Doomguard. That will take a lot of pressure off Maverick right away. Now only facing down 6 damage from those minions.
The second Twilight Drake, that's insane. And as you said, Lifecoach knows Maverick has no owl. Because if he had owl, he would owl Mortal Coil the Drake instead of just Mortal Coiling the Iron Beak. The Belchers are going to stay dead in Lifecoach's hand, but does he really care about that? When you just drop the Twilight Drake and down them both? Put the big walls.
Yeah, Lifecoach, judging from the hands, Lifecoach is definitely in a very good spot. Especially considering that he has Big M Hunter in hand to deal with Molten Giants and stuff like that. Alright, see, it seems like he's going to go for a Defender of Argus here. You don't really need the taunt. You don't really need big taunters when you're the aggressor anyway, so you might as well just push in for some more damage. Oh, he decides to go for 2 big taunters anyway, by buffing the second Twilight Drake that he just played.
If you attack once more, your Maverick can play Molten Giant Shadow Flame, and you have to play around that.
Alright, so
really
yeah.
well played by Lifecoach here.
Yeah, definitely. Because, yeah, of course, the possibility was there, and
Maverick on,
might as well play around it.
Maverick on the other side can Hellfire and then play Molten, and if he had Shadow Flame, he could Shadow Flame the Molten.
Yeah, if he Hellfires, he will definitely be able to play the Molten for free, considering the Boombas will explode into his face.
But even if he had Shadow Flame, was that a really good play? Playing Hellfire, Molten, Shadow Flame, use free cards? It's probably not bad, because you are in danger, but then you give Lifecoach the tempo. Like he'll just refill the board with something like Sludge Belcher or even Lord Jaraxxus.
So many possibilities.
Maverick is on the defense, and the Sludge Belcher he picked up some turns earlier might be useful for him.
Oh boy. Maverick definitely in a tough spot here. Sludge Belcher is the most optimal play to prevent at least a little bit of damage here.
He has a way to go for lethal, if he believes in the bombs. So he trades it 1 Drake, and then he has 7 on the face, plus Erasmus is 10. So the bombs need to both, you need the first bomb to hit the face for whatever amount, and the second bomb to hit for whatever amount that combined with the first amount makes 5 damage. So after he will win the first 50-50, he will know the amount he needs. So let's just wait for him to make the trade. I'm not sure if I really like this.
You would have attacked with the Twilight Drake, right?
Yeah, it's such a good chance that you kill your opponent. You just need to win a 50-50, and then you have... Maybe Lifecoach wants to go for another approach.
Yeah, I don't know. Lifecoach is still in a pretty good spot though, because now he can still deal a lot of damage to the face, and doesn't really have to care about Molten Giant Shadow Flame that much, I would say. Oh, okay.
Yeah, plagiarizes for sure. But I told you, I would have a mind for the 50-50. You lose nothing, like...
Honestly though, I was actually expecting something else. I was expecting Sludge Belcher and Void Caller.
I don't think he wanted to hold on the attack. I'm not really sure on this. Like, if you put him under 10, does it matter? So I think he missed 3 damage. The thing is that, okay, he might have wanted his Drakes to have more than 8 HP, to have 8 HP and not 5, but does it really matter? Like, how is going for the 50-50 gonna hurt you?
Yeah, I agree with that. Maybe a little bit of a rush decision by Lifecoach.
He's still going to win, but it was a really weird play there.
So many possibilities.
Alright, so, Lifecoach, how much damage does he have? Is this 5,
Yeah, it's lethal.
10, 13, and with the Hellfire, that's going to be 16, 1 over.
The bomb can also hit face for a lot. The bomb tries to clear the board. Unsuccessful.
Alright, and Lifecoach trying to attempt a comeback here.
Lifecoach managed to win the mirror match, which is really insane, because now Maverick might tilt, knowing that his Warlock went 0-2. Lifecoach's Warlock also went pretty badly in this whole series. So now Lifecoach has Rogue and Mage versus the Handlock. Which one would you queue first, Ekop?
I would try to go for the least favorite matchup last. Because of, as you said, the tilt factor.
Yeah.
The factor of nervousness maybe coming into play then. Because on the final game, when there's so much on the line for Maverick, his tournament life is on the line with the final game if Lifecoach makes it there. So maybe that's probably the most optimal choice. But it seems like Lifecoach is actually going for the Mage.
Let's see if he's Mech or Freeze. And it's a Mech Mage. A mechanical mage, as some people would say.
Yeah.
You kill the Scientist. Scientist is a really good card in this matchup. You obviously want a good start and then you want finishers. That's the way you win. And you probably hope your opponent doesn't have either Hellfire, either Shadow Flame, Dart Bomb, Ancient Watcher, Drake.
Yeah, the Mad Scientist, or should rather say the Mirror Entity that comes out of the Mad Scientist. So the Mirror Entity basically is a kind of a double-edged sword, I would say, in this matchup. There's a lot of minions that you can get, which are really, really good. But there's also a huge amount of minions that are pretty bad to get with Mirror Entity.
Well, it's not as bad as in the Freeze Mage matchup where you can get Doomsayers.
But there's like stuff like Ironbeak Owl and Ancient Watcher. That's even worse.
Watcher can be good with a spare part of Taunt.
Yeah, but that's not really what you want against if you're trying to rush down your opponent.
Okay, if you manage to put Mirror Entity into Mirror Entity, you pretty much guarantee you get something decent, right? He decides to go for the Annoyatron. He wants the Tinkertown Technician to hit the board on turn 3 and give him that juicy spare part, which is definitely a good way to approach this.
And also the +1/+1 buff that's really important to play around Hellfire as well, like just so the Tinkertown doesn't die to Hellfire. gets the emergency coolant, which is really good, I would say.
It's the best part most of the time.
Yeah, often enough you will just see a situation like this where Twilight Drake hits the board, and then you can stop the Twilight Drake thanks to the coolant from killing off your minions.
It's really interesting to see the Sky Golem. It's a really tech card that Lifecoach always opts to use in his Mech Mage.
Yeah, he's playing like one of Sky Golem in his deck. There's a lot of cards that Lifecoach chose to play, which other players might not play. There was also, like, if I recall correctly, one Mechanical Yeti in the deck.
Yeah, he plays the Mechanical Yeti to make his curve complete. Like, for example, now you would love a 4-drop, wouldn't you?
Yeah, of course.
And the Sky Golem is really efficient in the Warrior, Druid, and maybe even in the Handlock matchup.
Yeah, it gives you a little bit of an extra punch. It's, because often enough, once your opponent is able to deal with the board, you're just not having enough pressure after that.
Yeah, like,
Pilot Sky Golem generates
it's easy
pressure.
to deal 4 damage to the Sky Golem, but if they don't have it, they take a lot. And if they have it, you get something nice. Entity is good on turn 5, stops the Belcher, and that's what you do not want to see. Do you freeze the Twilight? I don't think so. But in this spot, Iron Beak is really bad for you. Oh, he chooses to freeze the Twilight.
It doesn't... Yeah, it's actually fine.
Actually,
Because
that's really good, because
yeah.
if he plays Iron Beak, you'll get Iron Beak too.
Not only that, I mean, by using it right now, he doesn't have to use it later. He doesn't have to have the mana for that later, and it doesn't really matter when you freeze the Twilight Drake, as long as you just negate one attack.
Do you think Lifecoach is gonna play the Sky Golem now? The board is like super challenging. It's really hard to do a good play here.
Yeah, a lot of health on those minions with the Ancient Watcher and Twilight Drake. Those are gonna be really annoying to deal with, and the Sky Golem might actually help out in that regard. You don't really want to use your burn spells either in order to clear minions, because often enough the handlock will just hide behind a huge wall of taunts, like Molten Giant taunts, for example, as well. And then your only option of still winning the game is by burning your opponent down with fireballs.
Lifecoach plays the Sky Golem. He's really vulnerable to a Shadow Flame, but that's something you don't play around that much. In this situation, you are so behind that you need to take some risks.
Yeah, but even if there was a Shadow Flame, he would still have to clear the Annoyage one first, and this would not allow him to attack into the Piloted Shredder, so that something would survive out of the Shadow Flame.
Well, he could have just attacked the Sunfury into the Annoyatron, then silence the Shredder, the Sky Golem, sorry, and then Shadow Flame the Watcher.
Yeah, of
And
course.
that way he just destroys Lifecoach.
That would be insane.
But as I said, Lifecoach has to take some risks at this point.
Yeah, especially in a matchup like this, which I would say favors the handlock for sure.
I think that in this spot you play Frostbolt, Hero Power, the Twilight Drake.
Oh, this is like one of the worst 4-drops you can get.
You can
I mean,
you can
stats-wise, basically.
You can still like Frostbolt the Drake and Hero Power, trade the 4/4 into the Ancient Watcher, play the Snow Chugger, set up for a turn 7 boom. That's like the only way you can win the game if your boom survives, and we see BJH and Maverick sand. So I don't think you can do many things as Lifecoach right now.
What is also fun is, despite seeing that Ancient, like we were talking about how Ancient Watcher is pretty bad most of the time, it can be used with a spare part that we said, like this Taunt spare part, but also when Sylvanas is on the opposing side of the board, it's a factor. You might actually give him back the Ancient Watcher.
I like Scientist a lot here. Can give you the second secret. And as I said, the Nomish inventory is not that great. It might, with a little bit of luck, force the Sylvanas trade. Does Maverick run double healbot or even one? I think I saw one healbot. Yeah, I saw one healbot. I don't think we saw the second one, right?
Yeah, I'm not quite sure about that.
If he runs only one and he doesn't draw into it, there's still some chances for Lifecoach to make a comeback. So he plays Dr. Boom now. What can Maverick do? He can trade a Twilight Drake into one of the Boom bots. He can, hoping Sylvanas doesn't die. Then he can Mortal Coil the other Boom bot, hoping Sylvanas doesn't die. And then he can trade Sylvanas into the Watcher and steal the Dr. Boom. So you need to survive to 33%, and if he hits with the 33%, he also needs to hit with the 50-50. So that's like a 16%.
Or you could just BGH the Dr. Boom and
BJ the Dr. Boom if your Sylvanas dies, so he has the backup plan too.
yeah.
So if Lifecoach plays Dr. Boom, I don't see him in a really good spot. Let's see what option Maverick opts for. I think this is the best one. You trade Drake, and then you Mortal Coil, then you trade Sylvanas.
Yeah, he's even playing the owl to ensure that the boom bots don't hit. Oh, never mind, there's still a
I
mirror
don't really
team.
like the owl play because you give him an extra minion, and he cannot play the Sylvanas to steal the boom. Maybe you just want to BGH and not RNG.
Yeah.
I don't mind stealing the boom, but I don't mind the BGH either. Either way, it's fine.
BJ is perfectly fine here, I would
What
say.
if he goes for face? Wait a second.
Oh, are you counting like the possibilities of lethal
Next
with
turn.
the boom bot hits for face?
No,
the
no,
face
no,
for-
no. I got lethal for Maverick if he went for full face and not trading into the bomb.
Yeah, there's some damage missing still, but Maverick is in a pretty safe spot right now, so he doesn't have
No,
to be
Maverick
worried.
had lethal if he went for face. He could put Lifecoach at 21, then the next turn he has, let's say the owl dies and everything else survives, you have... No, you need the owl to survive too. Ah, that's a good play, trading. I like trading. I don't know, you can play this however you want and still win. You're in a really good spot. Like, not even the second fireball would help Lifecoach.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe hitting face for 4.
Yeah, hitting face for 4, but even then...
Hitting face for 4, then you ping his face, play something, top deck fireball, you win. Not even like that, because you need to have mana for an extra ping.
Yeah.
You need to hit face for 4, ping, fireball, play the 2-drop, and then top deck fireball into ping, and Maverick not have low tab or heal, which is like insane. Insane to impossible, I would say.
Yeah, and Maverick right now just kind of controlling everything that Lifecoach can do here.
Being Maverick, you can just...
You can even like steal the Shredder with the
Yeah,
Sylvanas
yeah.
now.
You steal the Shredder for sure, then you heal yourself for play low tab. There is a chance that...
Yeah, with that anti-kill bot, just Maverick is just going to take this game most likely.
Healbot or low tab is the same. Belcher is probably good too. Oh, he just ignores everything.
Oh wow, can a play like that actually get punished somehow?
Nope. But I don't think he needed to do that. Like, he could just full trade steal the Shredder and then play Molten Giant, either Healbot or low tab, and that would give him lethal next time for sure.
Yeah, imagine for some reason Lifecoach would play like Iron Beak Owl in this deck and then have double Fireball or whatever.
You don't have the mana for that. Like Owl, Frostbolt, Fireball.
Yeah, Owl Frostbolt Fireball.
Why would you play Owl in that?
I'm just saying.
What would you cut? You cut an Annoyed run for Owl. Maybe we'll see it in the future.
Yeah.
If more people play Handlock, you need a way to deal with their stuff.
Is there any way for Lifecoach to survive here? What about some Lucky Blast Mage hits?
Nah, there's no way. The Giant in the hand is enough. And that's game, set, and match for Maverick.
Yeah.
The Belgium player from Team Millennium advances to semi-final.
Yeah, congratulations to Maverick for sure, taking the victory over Lifecoach 4-2.
Maverick, if I'm not wrong, went 2-0-2-0 in his first groups. Right?
How much?
He went 2-0 in every group.
Yeah, that is
So
true.
he's
That is
undefeated
true.
until now.
He's undefeated here at Seatstory Cup. And definitely on a dominant run.
Yeah, Maverick is really dominant in this tournament. I see him as a favorite to win this
Yeah,
tournament.
definitely
Even though all the other guys still in the race are really good players with really consistent lineups. But I really like Maverick's lineup.
Yeah,
He's going
Savis
for-
was actually like Savis, the winner of the last Seatstory Cup. He was actually touting Maverick as one of the dark horses to maybe to get really far in this tournament, and his prediction was spot on. Like Maverick definitely showing what he's made of here and proving himself at Seatstory Cup 3.
I'm not sure if Maverick's lineup is better than Sixos. Sixos is really insane. But Sixo needs to win first, and then I think they will face each other if I'm not wrong. Yeah, Sixo and the Lash play, and then the winner of that will face Maverick, if I'm not wrong with the brackets.
Yeah, that match, of course, is happening on the A stream, or is it
No,
going to happen?
it's here. It's B stream. It's after this.
Oh,
It's like after
Okay.
the break. There is a chance that Sixo versus Alesh is going to be played on the mainstream because the other games went really fast. So stay tuned for new information.
all right. So that closes out our top 8 matchup between Maverick and Lifecoach. Maverick once again taking the victory 4-2 in decisive fashion, and we are looking forward to see Maverick play in the semifinals of Seatstory Cup 3. Now we're going on a break, and see you guys later.
See you guys later.